Former Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe was arrested on Friday after being summoned to the Criminal Investigation Department, (CID), on charges of misusing state funds for a private overseas trip. This unprecedented event marks Wickremesinghe as the first former president in Sri Lanka's history to be placed under arrest. The allegations against Wickremesinghe stem from a controversial trip to London in late 2023. Investigators claim that the former president diverted state funds to cover what was essentially a private visit, disguising it as part of an official tour. According to a police B report filed in a Colombo court, Wickremesinghe traveled to the United Kingdom on September 22nd to 23rd, 2023, ostensibly to attend his wife's PhD graduation ceremony at the University of Wolverhampton. The report further states that this visit had no official purpose and was instead tacked onto Wickremesinghe's state trip to Cuba and the United States. After concluding his official engagements in the U.S., he is alleged to have flown to Britain specifically for the family event, a move that has raised eyebrows and prompted serious questions about the misuse of public resources. Adding to the controversy, a delegation accompanied Wickremesinghe to London, with government records revealing that approximately Rs 16.9 million, equivalent to roughly $50,000, in public funds were expended on airfare, accommodation, and related expenses. Investigators argue that this London leg of the journey amounted to a personal detour funded by taxpayers, potentially constituting a misappropriation of state property and resources. Authorities have taken a stern view of the matter, claiming that charging the personal visit to the state was a clear abuse of presidential privilege for private benefit. This action, they assert, is in direct violation of Sri Lankan laws on public finance and trust. The gravity of the situation is underscored by the potential legal consequences Wickremesinghe may face. If formally indicted, he could be prosecuted under anti-corruption statutes or the Public Property Act for misusing government resources, a prospect that has sent shockwaves through Sri Lanka's political establishment. The inquiry into Ranil Wickremesinghe's travel expenses has not been a hasty affair, having been ongoing for several months. In late June 2025, the Criminal Investigation Department informed the Colombo Fort Magistrate court that it had initiated a special probe into an overseas trip by the former president that was reportedly funded with public money. This announcement signaled the seriousness with which authorities were treating the allegations and set the stage for the intensive investigation that followed. To support their investigation and ensure its thoroughness, said officers submitted a detailed B report to the court, outlining the allegations and financial findings. This crucial step enabled the continuation of the inquiry, providing a legal basis for the investigators to delve deeper into the matter. As part of their evidence-gathering process, the CID took the significant step of questioning two of Wickremesinghe's former senior aides in early August, then Presidential Secretary Salman Ekanayake and Private Secretary Sandra Pereira. Both Ekanayake and Pereira had been directly involved in arranging or authorizing the 2023 London visit, making their testimonies vital to understanding how the trip was approved and expensed. The recording of their statements was a critical component in piecing together the chain of events and decision-making processes that led to the controversial use of public funds for what appears to have been a private engagement. Following weeks of meticulous preliminary work, investigators determined it was necessary to obtain Wickremesinghe's own account of the events. On August 22, 2025, in a move that captured national attention, the former president arrived at CID headquarters in Colombo after being summoned to provide a statement regarding the disputed trip. The sight of a former head of state entering the CID premises for questioning was a stark reminder of the gravity of the allegations and the commitment of law enforcement to pursue the case regardless of the individual's stature. After several hours of intense questioning, during which Wickremesinghe was presumably confronted with the evidence gathered over months of investigation, the situation took a dramatic turn. In the early afternoon, the former president was placed under arrest, a development that sent shockwaves through Sri Lankan society and political circles. The arrest of a former president is an unprecedented event in Sri Lanka's history, underscoring the seriousness with which authorities are treating the alleged misuse of public funds. Following his arrest, Wickremesinghe was expected to be produced before a Colombo magistrate to formalize the arrest and face possible remand proceedings. This legal process is crucial as it will determine the immediate future of the former president and set the stage for what could be a landmark case in Sri Lankan jurisprudence. The arrest of Ranil Wickremesinghe has ignited a fierce debate in Sri Lanka about accountability in public office and the use of state resources. Supporters of the former president argue that the arrest is politically motivated, pointing to Wickremesinghe's long career in public service and his reputation as a reformer. They contend that the London trip, while perhaps ill-advised, does not warrant such drastic action, and that the matter could have been resolved through administrative channels. Critics, however, see the arrest as a necessary step in combating corruption and ensuring that no one, regardless of their position or past service, is above the law. They argue that the misuse of public funds, especially by a head of state, erodes public trust and sets a dangerous precedent if left unchecked. The case has become a rallying point for those calling for greater transparency and accountability in government. The implications of this case extend far beyond Wickremesinghe himself. It raises important questions about the boundaries between official and personal activities for public officials, the oversight mechanisms in place for presidential travel, and the broader issue of how public funds are allocated and monitored. Legal experts are closely watching the case, as its outcome could set important precedents for how similar situations are handled in the future. As the legal proceedings unfold, Sri Lanka finds itself at a crossroads. The arrest of a former president is a significant test of the country's judicial system and its commitment to the rule of law. How the case is handled will be closely scrutinized both domestically and internationally, with potential implications for Sri Lanka's reputation and its efforts to strengthen democratic institutions. The coming weeks and months are likely to see intense legal battles, political maneuvering, and public debate as the case against Ranil Wickremesinghe progresses. Whatever the outcome, this unprecedented situation has already left an indelible mark on Sri Lanka's political landscape, serving as a stark reminder of the responsibilities that come with high office and the consequences of breaching public trust.